The tides are about to turn. Hello One Piece enthusiasts, I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about character development in Agate Island. What do I mean? What I mean is, what Vegapunk is doing to the world right now, revealing the biggest and darkest and secrets that the world government has been trying to hide from the entire world for the past 800 years, all going down the drain in just a single video. And we will see how this small glimpse of Vegapunk's message to the world will lead to retaliation beyond anything the world government has ever comprehended. Now, before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. So, I was not subscribed to the theory that the world needed to know what the world government was doing before Luffy became Pirate King. My opinion on all of this, my headcanon in all of this, is that Luffy would find the One Piece, would become king of the pirates, would become the warrior of liberation, and would liberate the entire world from oppression by defeating the world government, and thus the world would somehow figure it out. But, of course, it seemed flawed. The world, in general, has no idea what the world government is doing. They're oblivious to the dark sides of the world government or how they came to power in the first place. And Vegapunk's message is the cornerstone of the world changing its behavior and looking at it from a different perspective. There was never enough research done or enough power that was given to a certain individual or who had to claim it for themselves to basically tell the world. And now this is finally happening. But with all this, we know how it's going to affect the world as a whole, but let's talk about how it will affect the characters in general. The characters that are close to Vegapunk. What do I mean by this? Remember, this arc from the get-go has been about misunderstandings and the world changing sides. People changing sides according to what they feel is right, or them knowing the full length of the story and having some sort of a, what you might call a counterbalance, what you might call a change of heart. What do I mean by this? The first thing that we've noticed in Agate Island who changed their minds upon hearing Vegapunk's words or from entering Agate Island was Bonney. Bonney wanted to kill Vegapunk for what he did to Kuma, and then we see what actually happened to Kuma. We know what actually happened to Kuma, and Bonney realized that Vegapunk's not his fault. Who's at fault is the world government, and then she cared about Vegapunk the way she used to as a kid. Vegapunk truly did live up to his work and his words to Bonney of protecting Kuma. Then we see time and time again of how no matter how many times you brainwash or turn human beings into machines, the truth will finally spill and free will always remain. And we've seen that through Kuma and his determination to save Bonney, regardless of the amount of transformation he's been going through, from him being brainwashed to him being completely a robot to actually him protecting the things he cared about. Then we see a minor adjustment to Luci. Luci, of course, being the bloodthirsty man he is, was still one of my favorite villains, but now he has been given more depth. He has now come to care for his teammate, not the way Luffy has, but something is better than nothing. We've seen Luci going from, I don't care about my allies, if they're holding me back, if anything is holding me back, I will destroy it so that I can accomplish what I'm supposed to do. And then we see Luci, one of the top dogs of the government agent who is supposed to follow the world government blindly without asking for any favors or giving them any requests. We've seen how he pleads to the Gorosei to save Kaku because he's in trouble. And we can see this development, and I think it's further amplified by Kizaru. Someone who is as brain dead, or rather brainwashed as Luci, had a change of heart, realized that caring about people, or rather not following the convention, isn't actually bad. And then we see someone like Kizaru, who is objectively just unclear. We see Sentomaru going through sort of the same phase of how he should pick a side between the world government and Vegapunk. Ultimately, Sentomaru owed his life to Vegapunk. Yes, regardless, granted that Vegapunk kind of pulled the strings and manipulated him a little bit, but at the end of the day, Sentomaru did care about Vegapunk and wanted to fight alongside him so that he could be protected. And Kizaru, I think, has a much deeper relationship with Vegapunk than what Sentomaru had. And for him to be the one to close the curtain on Vegapunk's life, and the first thing that Vegapunk mentions is how his killer should be forgiven, or rather, his killer should not be judged because it was circumstances. And I believe that this is the one trigger that was needed for Kizaru to change into a man we want him to change into. We've already talked about how Kizaru might have a change in this arc, or maybe by the end of One Piece, but I believe this is a pivotal cornerstone. Vegapunk wanted to start out his message by indicating it to the people he knew the closest, which is Kizaru. He knew that this would have to happen, and it affected the most closest person in his life before affecting the entire world. The point being is that Kizaru considers himself a cog in the machine, but in reality it doesn't never have to be that case. And for Kizaru to feel that guilt or feel the weight of whatever he did, yes, we know he is hurt, but his mindset or psychology of being a cog in the machine and him having no control over it is what overshadows everything that he's been feeling right now. And I think this final message from Vegapunk is what pulls the trigger. We've already seen time and time again with the Admirals changing sides or changing of hearts, and I think Kizaru was the only one left that needed to be changed. I don't really see Green Bull and Akainu changing their ways, even after they realize how corrupted the world government is. I think they know fully well of how corrupted they are, but they're going to say the same because some people just don't ever change. But for someone like Kizaru, who does have a heart, who does have feelings, for someone who actually cares about lives more than rules and regulations, I think this was important. And I think this carries out to the entire world that people, I think the philosophy of Egghead Island, if anything, is that people have been put under circumstances or put under places where they don't really have much control over. But if they can be shown a light where they can think differently, I'm quite sure that they'll have a change of heart as well, and they will start to see the world differently. And I think that's the message of the story, and I think that's how Kizaru might be having one of the greatest character moments in the world of One Piece. I don't know what this video was about. I didn't know it was going to be a break week, but I had to talk about Kizaru and Vegapunk's message impacting the entire world. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is enough for Kizaru to accept the fact that he's not a cog in the machine and that he can change his ways? Or rather, do you think he's going to keep doing it regardless, and maybe, just maybe, before the demise of the world government, he realizes what he's done and then rectifies his mistake? That's it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.